today I'm going to try and make some sauerkraut. Well, actually I'm going to make sauerkraut. And I'm going to start off with this cabbage. Cut it into quarters and take the core out. I've got my mandolin ready. And that is the try. If the mandolin doesn't work out for me, there is plan B. And it's not that the mandolin doesn't work, it's just that I'm not accustomed to using it. I understand that it does take a bit of skill. Pretty strong cabbage here. Tougher than I am. There we go. At least the core doesn't seem to be huge. Not big enough. You want to get rid of that core. Okay, that's one. Most of that one. And there's just a tiny bit on this one. Perfect. And this one's got the majority of the core. There, that's cleaned up. Okay, I'm going to clean up and come right back. Okay, so now I'm going to use the mandolin to slice. Looks like it's working out. Want really fine, thin slices. So I'm going to do all these cabbages. And this thing is dangerous to use. You have to be so cautious not to get your fingers caught on it. But this is still a big piece of cabbage yet. Okay, and I have my gorgeous, huge glass container that I'm going to put the shredded cabbage into as I go along. And I have sea salt. And this is coarse salt. Just sprinkle a little bit on. Okay, we'll get back to shredding the cabbage. And others have been known to use food processors for this. One thing, I don't have a food processor, and secondly, I don't like the little chunks. I prefer the shredded strips. Yes, and that's coming out beautiful. So now I found a very good use for this mandolin, finally. Okay. And for me, doing one cabbage at a time is more than adequate. It's just the two of us, and it's not as though we eat a lot of sauerkraut, but we do like to have it on hand. Now, this is when it gets tricky. You need to use this item to make it safe. Either that or I will use a knife on the smaller pieces later on. So now I'll go to the bigger pieces again. Okay, I'm going to shred most of this up and then get back to you. Okay, so I'm still alternating between adding salt and shredded cabbage. And I'm just about completed the shredding all the cabbage. And the leftover bits, I am not going to try to get close to this mandolin. I would discard them before I try to do the last bit and injure myself. As it is, this container's pretty full. And we have, I could either slice this with a knife, and actually I think I will attempt to slice. There's enough of it left here that it might be worth slicing. I don't know that I can get it as fine as what the mandolin does. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. Not quite as fine, but probably acceptable anyway. There's another couple of chunks that I'm going to slice up. I'll be right back. Okay, the ratio is approximately 1.5 teaspoons or tablespoons of salt per head of cabbage. So at this point, I've got it all shredded and in a fairly sizable container. And what we want to do is press it all down so that the juices start to come out of the cabbage. Now, a lot of people tend to want to pound and pound and pound and pound. We could also just add a bit of water to this, which is something I may do. I'm not terribly fond of all this pounding, but I can already see the juices starting to form, starting to rise to the surface. You actually do not need to add any water. It'll actually leach liquid right from the cabbage itself. And this is a fermented product. It takes a minimum of 3 to 5 days. And you test it at whatever stage you like. After a few days you test it, see if you like the taste. If not, you let it sit longer and it'll get even more tart. Now what we have to do is make sure that everything stays below the surface of the liquid that is forming. Okay, I'll get back after I've done a little bit more of this. Okay, I don't know if you can begin to see this, but let me see if I can bring it up closer. But yes, there is some liquid starting to form, rising above the cabbage itself. So all the cabbage is beneath this liquid right now. Okay, and what we're going to do at this point is take some of the cabbage leaves that I didn't shred, and I'm going to put a layer on top so that all the shredded cabbage is underneath this layer. And this is going to be a protective layer against air so that the cabbage can ferment. The idea here is to make sure that there's no air. No oxygen gets to the shredded cabbage. That looks like a nice layer. And then we want some weight on it. And Right now I've just found this. I don't know what I can do to, normally if you have a proper container to make kraut, you would have stones to weigh it down. But that should be adequate to keep the cabbage down for now. And it will, as it ferments, the liquid will rise up, and this container is more than large enough to take care of that. So it'll rise up beyond that. The whole idea is that the shredded cabbage stays below the liquid. So this will take a few days, and I will get back to you after it has fermented for a few days, and we'll see what the result is like. As you can see, my fingers are in liquid there. Perfect, that's what we want. And if I need to, I will put something in this glass container to weigh it down some more. Can always put this salt thing. Mason jar full of salt. Anything that hold it, weigh it down is all that you're looking for. That's it for now.